Chronomaly, an archetype that, up until today, I thought was about as useful as the condom your parents probably tried to use when conceiving you. I thought this deck list, honestly, was just a glorified giant hand turbo sort of a deck list. Oh boy was I wrong. I went on a 9-game win streak with this deck list, with the only loss being the very final game to get that 10-game win streak. So out of the 10 games I played, I won 9 of them. This deck feels so goddamn good now, all because of one new Xyz monster. So here's today's deck list. Now just a reminder before I get to the deck list, if you guys are enjoying today's video and want to see more content just like this in the future, especially if you're a returning viewer, so apparently about 35% of people watching this are even subscribed to the channel, meaning 65% of you haven't even clicked that button yet. So if you guys are enjoying this content and want to see more videos just like this in the future, I still have a couple more videos planned around the latest box, including an Onomat Orcust and a Galaxy Eyes video, so if you're interested in seeing any of that content, remember to leave a like on this video and consider subscribing to the channel. Alright, let's get into this deck list. So what exactly is new in Chronomaly? Well, this deck list just got itself one of the strongest Xyz monsters in the entirety of Duel Links, Chronomaly Vimana. This card is crazy. It takes 2 level 5 monsters and has 2 effects. The first one is once per turn as a quick effect, you can target one face-up monster on the field and one Xyz monster or Chronomaly monster in your graveyard. That monster on the field gains half the attack of the monster in the graveyard until the end of this turn, then attach that monster from the graveyard underneath this card as material. So essentially this thing has 2300 attack, and at any point you can use cards in your graveyard to boost it up to anywhere between like 3500 attack or something, because you're going to be sending things like your number 33 to the graveyard with your skill anyway, meaning that's 1200 attack added straight on top of this thing. And of course, it's going to be attaching things below it to use with its next effect. Once per turn, when your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can attach 2 materials in this card to negate the activation. So it's got a negate that works on anything in hand, anything in the graveyard, and anything on the field, and of course it's going to be able to recycle the amount of times it can use this to negate, because it has a quick effect, attach material below it, which means during your turn, attach material, during your opponent's turn, attach material. That's already enough resources for a negate. So by the time it passes back to you, you'll already have another negate set up, ready for whatever your opponent tries to do. So how exactly are we summoning this monster? Well, to do so, you just need 2 monsters on field, because your skill basically takes a monster from your extra deck, sends it to the graveyard, and changes all your levels on field to the same level as the monster you just sent. So for example, you normal summon out your Nebra Disc, activate your Maui in hand to summon itself to the field, 2 monsters on field, activate your skill, send your number 33 to the graveyard, your entire field just became level 5, and you can just summon out a copy of your Vimana. There's actually a couple of hands where you're going to end on 2 Vimanas on the field, so it is really damn easy to do in this deck list. Now, let's talk about some of the cards in the main deck. So first of all, we have your Maui. This card is extremely simple. If you control a Chronomaly monster, you can just summon this card from your hand, in defense position. Then we have your best normal summon for the deck list, your Chronomaly Nebra Disc. This card is probably the best monster in the entire deck list. When this card is normal summoned, you can add one Chronomaly card from your deck to your hand, so it's already a search. Then it has a nice little bonus effect of when this card's in the graveyard, if you control a Chronomaly monster, you can just summon this thing to the field. But keep in mind, if you are going to use this second effect, you won't be able to use Cosmic Cyclone during that turn, as it locks you to only playing Chronomaly cards or Chronomaly effects during that turn. That includes all your trap cards as well, by the way, so keep that in mind. And the final 2 monsters, one of them's your Crystal Skull, which if you control a Chronomaly monster, discard this card, search for any Chronomaly monster, pretty damn simple. And the final one, your Crystal Bones, where if your opponent controls a monster, you can just special summon this card from your hand. When this card is summoned this way, you can special summon one Chronomaly monster from your hand, or Chronomaly monster from your graveyard, straight to the field. So it's a fantastic card going second, and as you'll see during multiple of the gameplays, it is basically a really strong way to play through Disruption. As for the spell and trap cards, there's a couple in here you might not have seen before. So obviously we've seen Cosmic, we've seen your Ice Dragon's Prism, we've seen your Compulse, but I have a copy of Chronomaly Technology and a copy of Barrage Blast. Now your Chronomaly Technology is a must-have in this deck list. It's a card you get simply from a level up reward, and you really do need it, because unfortunately this deck list only has for back row. So the only way to sort of make it really damn consistent in opening a back row during your first turn is to have this card in your deck. Because you normal summon your Nebrodisc, you search for this card, and then whenever you activate your skill, whenever you get Chronomaly in Graveyard, you activate this, look at the top two, and you'll just add a trap card to hand that way. Which is really damn consistent in doing so. It adds like an extra 15 to 20% chance of opening a trap card with this deck list, so really damn strong, and you do need it. As you'll see, I think 2 of the gameplays, or at least one of them, I also use this going second to grab a Cosmic Cyclone to bait out one of my opponent's back row before going into my Vimana. Very strong card. The other one is going to be your Barrage Blast, and this card is really cool for this specific deck list because this dude recycles so many materials. What this card does is, once per turn, you can detach any number of materials from Machine Xyz monsters you control, then target that many cards on the field, destroy them. So basically this card, when you have a thing with 3 materials below it, can just detach 3 materials, pop 3 cards on the field. Absolutely crazy, and because it's continuous, you can do this multiple times, and because this thing continuously recycles, that's just infinite resources for this card's effect. Now as for the extra deck, honestly, it really doesn't matter all that much. The only card that actually matters in here is your Vimana. The rest of them, because of how your skill is limiting your extra deck, you're forced to play only light number monsters or Chronomaly monsters, so you don't have that much option. You have this dude, which is basically just a burn card, or fodder for my skill as I like to call it, and your level 4, which is actually fairly useful and might come up occasionally since it does reduce a monster's attack to 0, so this card in combination with, let's say, another Xyz monster might lead to a couple of lethals. And then I just have the Utopia package, of course, summoning Utopia Lightning, 5000 attack. If your opponent has any monster on the field with low attack and low life points, they're just dead on field. But honestly, I haven't summoned anything outside this card yet, and it's not likely to come up anytime soon. Now, last thing I want to talk about with this deck list before we move on to the gameplay is actually in regards to a card we're not running in this deck list, because I know I'm going to get a lot of comments asking about why the hell I'm not running it, considering I think just about every Chronomaly player on the planet does run this card, and I'm not, because I really dislike it. And that is going to be your Chronomaly Tusper Rocket. Now this card, for those that don't know, is basically a 1-card summon out of this dude, because you can activate this card, summon it, send a copy of your Nebrodisc to the graveyard, Nebrodisc's effect, summon itself to the field, that's 2 monsters, activate skill, and there is your boss monster. But I really don't like this, purely because this card, well, it has two reasons I don't like it. The first one is sending Nebrodisc to the graveyard is such a bad way to summon out your Vimana, because it locks you out of using Cosmic Cyclone. Because this card in graveyard, like I mentioned earlier, when you use its effect, it forces you to only play Chronomaly cards, and I hate that. So going second, you can't use Cosmic, feels goddamn awful, also locks you out of your trap cards if you potentially need them. I hate that. The second reason I dislike it is because it's such a subpar normal summon compared to your Nebrodisc. I much prefer Nebrodisc as a normal summon because it lets you search for your technology, which, like I mentioned earlier, is the best way to get a hold of your trap cards if you don't draw them. So this card, 60% of the time, you're going to be drawing it, and you're going to want to be summoning it, making this card completely irrelevant. And because if you want this card to be normal summoned, the max chance for you to be able to normal summon this dude and still be able to summon out your Xyz monster means you can have to run triple of your Maui because it's your special summon, and triple your search for Maui because again, it helps you special summon. And if you don't have a special summon, you can't summon your Nebrodisc turn 1 without, you know, not being able to go into your Xyz monster. So that is the main reason, so it forces you to have 3 monsters of this, 3 times of this, and 3 times of this. So the only card that's actually cuttable for this rocket would be to cut your going second card, which, in all honesty, I don't know why you would, because this card, going second, allows you to not only play through Disruption, but going first, it's also technically a starter, because you normal summon this, special summon this dude, or activate this to search this guy, and that will just give you your 2 monsters on field. So there's like, you're basically paying for a card that locks you out of Cosmic, just to have a 1-card start going first, when you could still have a 2-card start going first, that going second gives you absolutely insane sort of playthrough to actually go through your opponent's back row, to go through your opponent's monsters, if they have any sort of disruption there. So, I don't like this card, that's my explanation, and yeah. If you guys didn't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it, that one's aimed at Grand Harrier, so without further ado, let's get into some gameplay. Alright, so as you can see, we had a very good run with this deck list, winning 9 games out of the 10 we played with it, unfortunately falling only at the final boss, which is rather unfortunate, as that would have looked really damn good in the title, having that 10-0, 100% win rate, but what can you do? 9 and 1 is still a pretty damn good showing, I would say. Alright, so I recorded these replays quite a while ago now, like a few hours ago, so I don't quite remember which ones are which, other than the final one, which was a interesting gameplay, but yeah. Alright, so let's get into it. Alright. See, I was very damn impressed with how this deck was performed. Especially the spell card. I thought the spell card was good, but I didn't know just it was how good it was. The spell card is so goddamn good. Alright, so this dude's playing Orcust. I think his end board was very lackluster. I think he just ended on one back row, and that was about it. Yeah, didn't get any of his tech cards apparently. Although he was playing the more RNG variant, not going for the mermaid variant, so it is a lot more RNG based. So just one back row, not the greatest. Alright, so summon my Crystal Bones, special summon out my Maui from hand. Now the reason you'll want to special summon this using the Crystal Bones effect, even though this thing can literally special summon itself, is because if your opponent disrupts this thing or they remove this thing can only special summon itself if you have the extra, if you have a monster on field already. So it's generally good to special summon this card using your Crystal Bones effect, otherwise, yeah, you won't have a monster on field for your Maui to summon. Alright. Of course, discarding the Crystal Skull to search for our best normal summon, which of course we explained during the decklist portion. Searching out our technology, hoping to try to hit a Cosmic here, which would be fantastic. So look at the top two, and we hit a Cosmic. So instantly banishing this thing, or baiting out the back row before we do anything. He returns this to hand, we don't really care. Setting something from the extra deck to the graveyard to make everything level 5. And going for a Chronomaly Vinma. Alright. Now we have a negate during his turn, and of course we have the Ice Dragon's Prism, which is absolutely crazy in this format when everyone is playing Orcust, because you just take their Orcust cards and you banish cards on the field with them. Alright, tries to do a special summon to bring back his Pulp. We are definitely not letting that happen. Alright, and that was all we had, so very basic replay, that one. It wasn't the greatest Orcust hand from him, so it wasn't the greatest showing of this deck list, but don't worry, there's a few other really goddamn good replays in here. Including, I think, the mirror match was kind of amusing, because I played through 2 lots of disruption to just beat some guy. No clue which replay that one's on, though. At some point there's a Chronomaly mirror match in here somewhere. Alright. This guy's playing the new character, looking to farm some gems, I'm guessing. Playing Buster Blader. Which apparently can just use this thing as a Linkuriboh material now. Not sure how much of a boost that is to the deck having Linkuriboh, but it's something. Alright, so normal summoning Nebradisc, searching for my technology. Discarding, grabbing a Maui. Alright, hoping once again to hit a Cosmic, unfortunately didn't. So just grabbing some sort of follow-up or something to use my board somehow gets wiped. Alright, going into my Vinma. Gateway, sending to the graveyard, summoning another dude from hand. Oh, sorry, I didn't do that, sorry. Got lost in which replay we're at there. Alright, so going to battle phase, of course, using this card's effect to boost its attack. Going to be negating the effects of this Linkuriboh though, because that forces him to use the back row or literally take lethal damage. Alright, there was probably a way there to get actually multiple Chronomaly monsters if I played the turn correctly, so I probably misplayed there. Alright, he's signed a bunch of Mech Knight things. I'm going to activate my Barrage, point both cards on field. And it's not the greatest replay, but I really wanted to show off this one because it was the only replay where I got Barrage Blast actually used. For some reason I just did not draw this card at all. I guess I am running it at 1, so it's not a shock, but yeah, I wanted to show off the Barrage Blast, which detaches materials from below your Xyz monsters to pop that many cards on the field, which is so goddamn good when you have an Xyz monster that's infinitely recycling materials. Alright. Next replay. I think I should have done these actually top down, because I think the bottom replays are way less exciting than the rest of them. Alright, so here's our first rank up. And this is the mirror match I was talking about. This is a really nice looking duel. Alright, so our opponent's actually using a different skill to what we're using, a vastly inferior skill. Alright, Divine Artifacts, using a card in hand to change the level, which is... I don't know why I'd use that over the one that uses stuff from deck. So it relies on you having a card in hand, which is not great. Alright, setting and passing. So first thing we're gonna do, special summon our Bones. For some reason he just does not negate this. I guess he just... I guess to be fair, negating this he still would have had the same basic outcome, so it didn't really matter. Special summoning our dude. Discarding, searching for our Maui for another special. Making sure to not activate our skill just yet, because we want to make sure that we're using our skill on all the monsters we want level 5 for the rest of the turn, because I also want to have another level 5 for our Maui, so we get 2 Xyz monsters out. Potentially 2 Xyz monsters. Our opponent is going to be negating this one, or Book of Mooning, one of the two. I forget what he does. Yeah, he negates it. So I don't get a search, which is fine. So I can still go into my Vimana. Special summon, he Book of Moons me. But that's fine, because we've already got our dude on field. Making him real big. Has 3 materials below him from a negate. And because I know he's using the not so great skill, I'm just going to negate this, because, yeah, he's not going to be able to do anything, even with the special summon coming back. Can't change their levels, so... Alright, there you go. So that's an example of playing through 2 lots of disruption. To be fair, one was only a negate and not negate and destroy, but I think playing through a negate and a Book of Moon is a pretty damn good showing for a deck list. Especially for a deck list that's probably better at going first, I would say, although it hasn't got that much back row in it, so... Alright, up to the... Okay, I think this is the amusing replay, if I remember correctly. Yeah, this one was... This was something, I'm pretty sure. This is the Super Poly gameplay. I do not know what this guy was doing at all. So, MST's back row. Book of Moon's his monster, which actually saved him, because otherwise I would have killed him. So, good thing he did that. Alright, searching for my Maui. Special summon. Gateway. Summon out my Vimana. Special summon out a second copy. Because if he still had that card on field, I'll reduce his attack to 0 and then hit him with 2 monsters, because you could reduce attack to 0 with this one, I believe. So, yeah, I probably had lethal there, but unfortunately he put his thing in defense. Alright. Normal summons his damn Neos, searches for Super Poly, and I'm terrified. I'm like, oh no, he's gonna Super Poly this card. Oh no, please. And I got pretty worried, but thankfully, for some reason, I don't even know what his plan was. He polarizations, fusions out this Sunrise, doesn't use the Sunrise's effect, because he's worried it's gonna get negated, I guess? But even then, I don't really like... There's no downside to making me use the negate. It's like, I don't really understand. Tries to swing in because he doesn't realize this is a damage step. I don't know if he was planning to get me to use this effect, then Super Poly? Either way, goes to damage step, and I buff my attack. And he kills off his own monster. Yeah, someone in the comments explain what his game plan there was, because I don't really know. Anyway, I thought you guys would enjoy that replay anyway, just because it was silly. Alright, on to Mr. Flygon over here. Isn't that a Pokemon? A man's naming himself after a Pokemon playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Alright, on to the 8-game win streak. I'm so sad I didn't get the 10 game, but it looks so nice. It was a rank up too, of course, because it's 10 games in a row. So it'll be the 2 rank ups and whatever. Alright, so normal summoning, searching for my technology, of course, hoping to hit some back row. Technology, banishing the skull, hitting a cosmic, not the greatest. But thankfully I can still set up at least 1 negate. Alright. Transvates his field spell, of course, going to remove that before he gets its search off. Sets a whole bunch of stuff, I pop it on the back row. Summon my boy, search for a copy of Skull. Skull discard. Grabbing our Maui. Damn, this card. This card art slaps, not gonna lie. Alright, naked level 5. And swinging in. He activates Showdown to summon something from hand. I'm not going to let him get his search because he's very low on cards now. Alright, then mine are going to add more stuff back, and the other one's going to add even more stuff back, so even after using the negate with 2 on field, I'm just going to stock two materials back underneath it and have the negate ready for the next turn. It's... Yeah, this deck list is actually kind of crazy. Alright guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Still have a couple more videos planned on the latest box, so if you want to see those, remember to subscribe, and without further ado, yeah, thank you guys for watching, laters.
Hey, big brother, can I watch SpongeBob?
Shut up, Mokuba. I'm busy flagging YouTube videos to compensate for the fact that I have an extremely small penis.
Oh.